What's up, gamers? It's me, Alistair, and I'm here to talk to you about Microsoft Flight. So, this game, it's been out for a while, it's nothing new, it's nothing groundbreaking, so to speak, with regards to me making a video about it. However, I find there aren't actually a lot of really good videos about this online, just because this isn't really what I would consider a typical flight simulator. In fact, I would be hesitant to even really call it a flight simulator at all. And there's a reason for that, and a lot of people might disagree, but coming from a pilot's perspective and having used flight simulators in the past, I gotta say, Microsoft Flight, it's not exactly like a super casual, like sandbox flying game. But at the same time, it's not exactly a very accurate or a very good flight simulator either. And well, let's take a look at a couple things about this game. Or flight sim, whatever you want to call it. So first things first, this is a Games for Windows Live. Obviously it's Microsoft, right? So Games for Windows Live. So you gotta sign in. It takes a while. It's the first time you sign in. Once you're in, you find that you're kind of in your full Games for Windows Live thing. So let's go to the marketplace here real quick. This is a free-to-play game. So like all free-to-play games, they're pretty much everything that exists is pretty much sort of paid DLC, because that's how they monetize the game. The good thing about that is, well, you can try this thing out, and if you absolutely hate it, you haven't paid anything for it. The bad thing is, well, you have to buy all the planes. I'm not even 100% sure how much they cost. Let's take a look at this right now really quickly here. $14.99 for a Mall M6 260C Deluxe. Yeah, that's a bit of money. Can't say I know what that airplane is, but that's a bit of money. So, take a look at the other aircraft we have here. Carbon Club F4U P40 A6M20. I believe that was the Mitsubishi Zero that was famous in World War II. Mall M6-260C Orion, and the P-51D Mustang. That's a famous plane. There's a plane that we've all heard of before. But, in my opinion, what would draw this game away from a true pilot, a person who is an actual pilot that wants to do some practice, or practicing instrument stuff, whether you want to kind of download a map pack for a specific bunch of airports, which I've done in the past, to see, okay, well, what's it like to do an approach E.T. Joshua and St. Vincent in the Caribbean, for example. Before I actually landed there, I wanted to know what the airport was like. The airport really sucks, but the flight simulator actually will tell me that, right? Yeah, so this one, either you're in Hawaii or you're in Alaska. Hawaii is the default, Alaska you have to pay probably $15 for. So, well, that's not particularly useful to a lot of people, but still, fair enough, no problems, right? It's free to play. So, what do we have here to actually fly in? This is the C-46, built as a cargo and troop transport during World War II. I'm just reading this off the screen. This isn't something that anybody who is an actual pilot would have any benefits to downloading this and purchasing this and practicing any flying with this, because it's not an aircraft that's really current. Nobody flies these. You don't see these anywhere. And I'd have to say the same is true essentially for all of them. So from a pilot standpoint, you don't have a Cessna 152 or 172 or PA-28 Cherokee of any sort. You don't have any aircraft that people are actually learning how to fly, or that they're They're brushing up on some instrument work with an aircraft that they fly on a regular basis. So they can't actually use any of these aircraft that they have to pay for. They can't use these aircraft for practical reasons, to practice anything. It's basically a glorified joyride. Which brings us to the other market for a game like this. It's a game. It's not a flight simulator. This is for the casual gamer who wants to feel like a pilot. Well, on that note, what do we have here? We have a fat aircraft that doesn't look like a lot of fun to play. Carbon Cub, not interesting. The F4U, well, that looks a little kind of cool. P40, maybe the Mitsubishi Zero. But where's the F21? Where's the 747? Where's the 777? The Airbus 380? People who aren't actually pilots that download the flight simulators, you pay $60 for Microsoft Flight Simulator X, for example. They're not doing it to fly a little dinky Mall Orion. They're downloading this because they want to fly some cool stuff. And I mean, I don't know if it's because I'm in Canada and maybe there aren't DLC or map packs or anything available in Canada in relation to the rest of the world. Wouldn't put it past Microsoft and just industry in general to be like that. But all that being said, from a casual non-pilot perspective, I can't say that any of these aircraft really excite me. I wouldn't actually go out of my way to pay, say, let's see, what is this? $7.99. Okay, you know what? $7.99 for a P-51 Mustang is kind of reasonable, but to pay $15 for a C-46 Commando for a friggin' cargo jet? Yeah, it seems like a bit much. Yeah, it kind of rubs me the wrong way. And there are a number of other issues that I have with this flight simulator, which I'm not terribly excited about. So let's get into it. Okay, so here we are in Hawaii. Now, I have a couple of aircraft here. Basically, these are the aircraft that I get for free. Pretty much everybody, when you start off with this Microsoft flight, you get the Icon A5 Deluxe. I have never seen one of these actually in real life before. It's a push prop configuration, high wing aircraft. I've used it in the simulator in the game. It isn't fast. It isn't particularly exciting or interesting. It looks kind of cool. It looks like a rich person's toy. From a pilot standpoint, I think that the Stearman's a little bit cooler. Got a radial engine here. These things are pretty powerful. It's kind of fast. It's a biplane. I mean, that's pretty badass to have a biplane. Tail dragger. I'm not even certified to fly a tail dragger. You gotta get checked out on that, and I managed to really scrape it up pretty nicely. So, yeah, let's take it for a spin and see what's going on here. Alright, so we got the Stearman, and where are we flying? Hawaiian Adventure Pack. Oh, you have to pay for some of the islands. Oh, great. Alright, so we could be at International Airport, Papa, Hotel Kilo, Oscar. Let's start at this one here. This is oh, okay, these are little airstrips. I like a little airstrip a little bit better here. 96 feet elevation. Got a 3,800 foot runway. This looks a little bit closer to what I was doing in the Carrot. Oh, okay, here we go. This is a runway that I've very comparable to something that I've seen before, which is Union Island Airport. This is about 1,800 feet. Awful little airport, but let's take our dinky little plane for a spin, shall we? So, all right. So you got free flight, which is kind of cool. You also have activities, which is your missions. You got challenges. The challenges are a bit ridiculous, to say the least. You have to fly through all kinds of like things. It's kind of like the Red Bull challenge, but like really unrealistic. like really unrealistic. The arrow cache hunt, I haven't even really looked at that much, but let's take a look at the missions. Now, my other gripe with the game is it's almost like a progressive thing where you have to unlock more missions and unlock more missions and you kind of start from the bottom and work your way up from the top, which kind of makes sense because, well, let's face it, the people who are actually going to be playing this game are not pilots. If you're a pilot, it is a little bit condescending, to say the least. So, you'll see how I feel about this in a moment here. Alright, let's skip all this nonsense, because this is, it looks like we have to do landing. I thought I finished this a couple of times, but apparently you can't do the next mission until you've completed the most recent one, so... Oh, we have to fly this thing, don't we?
In this short lesson, we'll go over the basics of landing a light aircraft.
Icon A5.
You want to fly this mission a few times.
Yeah, my joystick isn't working properly, the force feedback isn't working, it's very flippy and floppy, and it's actually easy to do this with the mouse and keyboard. Hope I don't remember the controls.
The runway here is huge, so it's hard to miss.
Here we are.
It's actually built over a lava field. Okay, there are 3 keys to landing an airplane. Speed, speed.
You're telling me.
And you guessed it, speed. My instructor always told me, you've got to slow down to go down.
My instructor didn't really tell me that.
You have the airplane.
Oh,
Go
dear,
ahead
what
and pull
are
the throttle back to 45%, or about 3,800 RPM. We're a little left of the runway. Turn right a few degrees.
Alright, so here we are. We're lining up on
Here,
course.
I'll set the throttle for you.
No, don't set the throttle for me.
Let's lower the landing gear now as well.
God damn it.
You see how the nose drops?
Yes,
Lift
I
the
do.
nose up just enough for a shallow descent, and we'll start slowing down. Let me show you something.
Okay. No, don't show me
for this
something.
part of the lesson.
No, you're not going to handle my
guess
throttle. I know what I'm doing.
Gear.
No, you won't,
just
because...
concentrate on flying the airplane.
You know what? I know you're an instructor.
Landing. Pay close attention to our airspeed.
I am paying close attention to our airspeed. We're at
about
about 58 knots indicated airspeed.
So rather than using the throttle to adjust our speed, raise the nose to slow down or lower the nose to speed up.
Anybody who's a pilot that's watching this right now, you're going to understand.
Go ahead and try it.
This is really,
Good job.
really
We're right
frustrating.
On speed. Okay, now
No
that we're at
shit.
55 knots, make slight adjustments
We're
to maintain
completely
this
off
airspeed.
course here. We need to line up with the runway properly.
Okay,
I don't
good
know
job
if we
so
need
far.
a slipping...
You have control of the throttle again.
A bit of a... We got a bit of a crosswind here. You know what? We are so far away that we do not need to be on landing touchdown speed
Those are called the
at
patch
this
lights.
far back.
They let you know if
Yes,
you're on
the lights are white, we're too high. The lights are red, we're dead.
You're too low, and all white lights mean you're too high. If you see too white and too red, you're right on the glide.
See, there's no way to skip this.
Not all airports have these lights, however. Some airports
I'm just gonna
use a
sit
very
here and
similar
wait
system called the back
because I wouldn't normally fly
We're a little
like
too high
this.
to make the landing. Let's
Alright, let's
retry
cut.
that
Okay.
section.
No, we're not going to retry the fucking section. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. This is really, really frustrating. Where I learned to fly, you come in hot, you come in fast, you dump the full flaps, you touch down, you get off the runway as soon as humanly possible because a big 777 is breathing down your neck. This is a silly lesson. Alright, here we go. Restart mission. Let's do it properly the way that they want to do this.
In this short lesson, we'll go over the basics of landing a light aircraft. You want to fly this mission a few times. It takes practice to make a perfect approach and landing. We're flying the Icon A5 just south of Kona International.
Oh, no, you can't skip this, by the way.
It's hard to miss. It's actually built over a lava field. Okay, there are 3 keys to landing an airplane. Speed, speed, and you guessed it, speed.
Oh, really?
My instructor always told me, you've got to slow down to go down.
See, look how close we are to the runway here.
You have the airplane. Go ahead and pull the throttle back to 45%. or
You
about
know what? I'm gonna go
3,800
really
RPM.
fast because I don't want to start my landing at 3.7 nautical miles away in an aircraft that is like doing 80 knots indicated towards
Here,
the runway.
I'll
So
set
I'd
the
say
throttle
about
for
6.
you.
No, okay, I'll put it at 45.
Let's lower the landing gear now as well.
Landing gear, hit G. There we go. Gonna do it your way.
You see how the
I'm
nose
patient.
drops?
Yes, I do.
Lift the nose up just enough for a shallow descent,
Yeah,
and we'll
55.
start slowing down. We're a little left of the runway. Turn right a few degrees.
Alright.
Let me show you something.
No,
I'll handle the
no, you
throttle
don't.
for this part of the lesson.
I don't want you
just
to.
concentrate on flying the airplane.
I already am concentrating. I don't need you to
Since
help me.
speed is the key to a good landing,
I know
pay close
speed
attention
is.
to our airspeed.
I am.
We want to descend toward the runway at about 55 knots in this
My speed is
aircraft.
54 and you're flashing at me.
So rather
54,
than using the throttle to
55.
adjust our speed, raise the nose to slow down or lower the nose to speed up. It might sound strange, but it'll really help you nail the landing. Go ahead and try it.
You know, to
Good
be off
job.
by a
Right
single
on
knot
speed.
indicated, it
Okay,
really
now
isn't a
that we're
big
at
deal.
55 knots, make slight adjustments to maintain this airspeed. Okay, good job so far. You have control of the throttle again.
Oh, I got control of my own f***ing airplane. Thank you very much. You know, I got more hours of taxi time
See the
than you
lights
have
on the
total
left side of
time.
the runway? Those are called the PAPI lights. They let you
Oh,
know
I
if you're
haven't
on
heard
the
this
glide
before.
slope to the runway. All red lights mean you're too low, and all white lights mean you're too high. If you see too white and too red, you're right on the glide slope. Not all airports have these lights, however. Some airports use a very similar system called the VASI.
Vassy.
Right now it shows
Yes, we
4
already
white
know
lights,
this.
so we're high on the approach. To adjust how high or low we are, use the throttle. Since
I
we're
know.
a little high, go ahead and pull the power back a bit.
Yeah,
We're
you
looking
can't
for
skip
2
this
white
mission.
and 2 red lights.
What's my flaps? Here. I don't know what my flaps are. You know what? Power idle. Keep my airspeed. Nose down. A little bit of rudder. Most people don't know this, but it's actually a lot easier to fly a real plane than it is to fly a simulator, even if it's like a really high quality simulator with a good joystick and a set of pedals.
We're right where we need to be. Great job. Remember to put the throttle back after making adjustments. Now that we're over the runway, pull the power back to idle and hold the nose up so the aircraft just settles onto the runway.
Oh, that was a bit of a stall.
Well, it'll take a little practice to make a good landing. Now gently brake until we
Alright,
slow
I've done
down
it.
to about 10 knots. Okay, try it again. Practice
No.
makes perfect.
I really don't want to try it again. How about you get out of the plane and let me fly, because I just want to fly. Alright, so, okay, blah, 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 blah. So, that is what it's like to use Microsoft Flight. It's holding your hand so it's not really geared for like a proper pilot, like somebody who actually knows how to fly, because it's telling you to do one thing when intuitively you're looking at your situation and thinking, okay, well, this isn't how I would do it, and I'm sure if I were to have the pilot operating handbook of that particular aircraft and I were to see what the pre-landing checklists would be based on various criteria of the airport, they wouldn't have you doing all this stuff in a real life situation. So a real life pilot would say, this just doesn't make any sense. And just let me fly the plane. I want to fly the plane. I really want to fly the plane. But no, like you're saying, oh, you're going too quickly, you're going too slowly. Let me adjust your speed for you. Well, I don't want you to adjust my speed. I just want to fly the friggin' plane. And, you know, that's just me. And maybe I'm kind of an ass. I can maybe I am hard to please, and I get that. But on the flip side of things, the older Microsoft Flight games, like the Microsoft Flight X, for example, I didn't even really play around with that one much. I use X-Plane. So X-Plane 9, X-Plane 10, for example. There we go. Here's something that I'm familiar with. This is a true flight simulator. This is a flight simulator that you could pay $60 and get the consumer one, and you could plug in all your joysticks and all your pedals, and you can get your USB, your throttles, and your mixture, and your constant speed control, and put everything together, and you can micromanage your aircraft using hardware controls, and the keyboard and the mouse will do the odds and ends that you can't do with the controls. Well, this game doesn't really have like that level of complexity. As far as I know, let's see, you have to play this again. As far as I know, you can't set emergency scenarios, so you can't say, okay, well, we're gonna practice emergency situations, so what we want to do is say, all is well in the world, you're flying from one airport to the other, and your engine fails, what do you do? Or you're in instrument meteorological conditions, you have a pedostatic failure. So you don't know what your altitude, you don't know what your airspeed, like those instruments are gone. You have to rely on other instruments. These are real world emergency scenarios that you can practice in a proper flight simulator. So this game, I should call it, not a flight sim, but this game would not appeal to a real pilot, just for that reason. It's lacking all of those things. You could buy 5 aircraft at $8, $10, $15, pay $60, but then you could just also buy, you know, X-Plane and have the entire world worth of airports, as far as I know. It's got Union Island, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's got an airport which is like nobody even knows exists on X-Plane for $60. So I'd be hard pressed to recommend this over that, for the main thing that your aircraft selection, where's the hangar here, is a bunch of airplanes that aren't really practical for flight simulator exercises. Some of them are kind of like historic, like iconic historic aircraft, which is really cool. It's nice to have it, but there aren't the trainers, there aren't the real world aircraft that people fly for a living and want to brush up on because they're going to have a flight test coming up soon. If you're trying to brush up your skills with a King Air, doing an instrument approach in Iqaluit, because that's your job and you have to pass a test for your job, what do? You could buy a bunch of books and study, or you could do a couple approaches from your PC. You can't do that with this. The other thing is, again, like I said before, for the casual gamer, they want to fly the cool planes. You want to fly a 777, you want to fly a F-18 or an F-21 or an F-16. You want to do that stuff, this isn't the game for you. So at the end of the day, it's kind of like, it's a no man's land kind of game. It's cool, don't get me wrong, the graphics are great, it's a beautiful, beautiful game. It's not practical, it's not terribly interesting, whether you're a pilot or whether you're a person that wants to like nerd out with some cool airplanes. It ain't for you. Well, it certainly isn't for me. It's a very narrow gap in between two demographics which are also narrow. So I think it completely missed the boat. So thanks for watching my video. If you completely disagree with me, please feel free to leave a message in my comments. If you love this game, if you're a pilot, if you love this game and you're not a pilot, if you have anything to say at all, please leave me a message in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this, because maybe I'm entirely alone in thinking this, but something tells me I'm not. So once again, thanks for watching, and have a good day.